From 4 News Now, with live updates throughout the day, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. This is KXLY Plus.
Good afternoon for 4 News Now. I'm Rob King. For the last week and a half, we've been hearing about the devastating wildfires on the island of Maui in Hawaii. So we've reached out to our sister station, ABC KITV, in Honolulu to give us the latest information and boots on the ground. So today I'm speaking with Robert Buan, who is an anchor reporter at KITV. Robert, I'm sure it's been an absolute whirlwind for you these past couple of days. So how has it been so far?
Yeah, whirlwind's a good word to start with, right? So it's been, I was on Maui the last 2 days, got in last night. My fiance was asking me even just about what was going on after I got back, if I'd gotten any sleep. I remember walking in the door and I just remember the sun waking me up on the couch at right around 6 a.m. this morning. So whirlwind is a good place to start if you wanted it in a word.
And we've been monitoring here since they've started. We've seen pictures and obviously footage of the devastation. How is it different when you are, boots on the ground on the island seeing it? What is something that the cameras just aren't picking up?
There's a couple things. It's a great question because of some of the things that you're learning about, just from other people that aren't necessarily what we would call, stories. That you would, something that you would have on newscast later that night. The one thing that's remarkable to me that I'm running into is people who've lost their homes. I mean, they've lost their everything because their cars, clothes, everything. When they evacuated, they didn't get to take anything with them. People I met like that are incredibly grateful. It's this very genuine sense of gratitude that they're alive, that are happy that they're alive. And it's, I think, you and I are probably pretty good guys in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know that we'd handle things as gracefully as some of the people of Lahaina have been in the wake of this massive tragedy. Their world around them burned, and their neighbors, some of them they're never going to see again. They never have no idea if they're ever going back again. Yet there's this very genuine sense of, I'm glad I'm alive, my wife is alive, my kids are alive. And they're almost ecstatic about it. It's a very strange dichotomy that's really hard to, in our world, it's hard to capture that in 90 seconds, right?
Absolutely. Now, there's been some criticism of kind of the federal response to this. What have you seen as far as FEMA's approach and the president's response?
Well, let me go a step ahead of that because I think some of it is going to be what you guys are going to cover, and that's going to be accurate as far as some of that disconnect. What's happening even as recently as an hour ago or sometime Friday morning, depending upon when people are watching this, that a lot of people that are native to Maui, and we're talking like actual Hawaiian people, that are feeling a little displaced, not only because the fire has driven them from their homes, but because of the federal, state, and local authorities not really responding to them and keeping them informed. There was a press conference with some of these native groups that happened Friday morning talking about, we're going to just start doing some of this stuff on our own. And I wasn't privy to exactly what happened in this press conference, but I do know that ever since when I first got there, I landed there Wednesday, and I was getting phone calls from people I knew that were possible stories that I was going to be able to do. And they started talking about the fact that, you know what, we can't wait any longer. We're just going to have to do some of this stuff ourselves. And I didn't really, in my mind, I was driving on this brand new road that was open into Lahaina. It was open for the first time in a week. And so I was kind of focused on that. I didn't really understand what this guy was telling me. Now it's starting to take on some texture as far as what some of these independent groups are going to do as far as recovery that's not involving some of the authorities at any level. So I don't know what that means exactly. I do know it's something to watch.
Absolutely. And we have seen stories, unfortunately, of looting going on. But as you kind of talked about, you've seen some silver linings as people are starting to step up for their community. How has that been?
Yeah, looting has been, it was reported. I wasn't there at the time any of that was happening. right now, a big part of it is it's just actually people going into the affected areas. And when they're going into the affected areas, it hampers the actual recovery process for people that are still trying to find human remains. They're trying to get any semblances of identification. And some of these bodies are some of them are just reduced to skeletons, and not even full skeletons in some cases. So that's the thing that really stands out to me as far as what you're talking about in the looting, is people that aren't supposed to be in those areas being where they are. That part hasn't been as much of an issue over the last few days. It still has been something that's talked about, but it's just really more people that are kind of getting in the way of things, that people are in the recovery process, people that should be there in order to help move that along a little faster. I think that's more of the problem.
Got it. Now, in crises like this, a lot of misinformation will come out. A lot of people will have conflicting information. What is Hawaii trying to do to get that proper information out? And what is the proper information that should be out to the public as far as people who want to go there for tourism? Maybe they had a vacation plan years in advance. What is the right way to go about this?
Rob, I know you may have seen the post that I had on my social media talking about tourism and how most of Hawaii is still open. And I did this on Sunday, so this is almost a week ago when I did this. And the message from Maui County, which is the whole island of Maui, as well as the state, is that Hawaii is still open. So fast forward to Wednesday, when I'm first thing in the morning, I'm flying out from the airport here in Honolulu to Oahu, and looking at my checking in on the app on Hawaiian Airlines, and I just do it the same way we always do. You look for your flights, and you click on that, check in here now. As soon as I hit the check-in, it shows me a full screen of anybody who is coming to Maui for non-essential purposes is encouraged to reschedule their trip. And I was just blown away. It didn't say West Maui, it said Maui. And so that means that even though it's only affecting, geographically speaking, somewhere less than 10% of the island, the other 90% of the island is still open. Hawaiian Airlines is saying if you have non-essential travel to Maui right now, that you should rebook, and we'll do it without any fees added onto it. And that just blew my mind as far as the fact that whenever there's these chaotic situations, there's going to be disconnects in information, which is fine as long as it gets cleaned up along the way. But I thought we had it cleared up earlier this week, and then as recently as just a couple of days ago, the major airline here in the state, there's 2 terminals at the Honolulu airport. One is for Hawaiian Airlines, the other's for everybody else. So the one that has half of the traffic here in Honolulu is telling people not to go to Maui, and that was just blowing my mind. So it didn't really answer your question, but I think it adds some texture to what some of the disconnects are. I don't have the answer for what you're asking. It's a very fair question and natural question. It's just something that's it's gonna be answered as this whole thing unfolds.
Now, the president said he plans to visit next week. What do you think he's going to find either the most surprising or the most shocking?
I don't. Well, he's seen a lot of stuff. I don't think he's going to see anything that's too shocking or surprising. We actually are going to have the First Lady coming into the studio this weekend on Good Morning Hawaii as well. So that's part of the stop. I know that that's going to be taking place. But I don't know that they're going to see anything that's too shocking. Obviously, I'm not privy to whatever the itinerary is at this point for what he's going to see. I'm sure he'll be able to go into some of the impacted areas and see part of that for himself. But I do think that overall, a lot of what I've seen as far as coverage gives you a pretty fair assessment of what's going on. Now, where it can diverge as far as what could be surprising, it will depend upon the access that other people have to him. We know he's got these layers of security. He's got his own White House personal team. He's got Secret Service. He's going to have government officials from here, from local, state, whatever, National Guard, whatever is going to be set up to get him moving around to different parts of the island. But if he is able to get in contact with, if people that are some of the most frustrated. If they're able to get to them and explain some of the stuff that's going on, then I think that's probably where he's going to be surprised, because even just reporting back to our newsroom this morning about some of the stuff that I was learning about, that people are to a point where they're just going to start doing stuff on their own. I think that's probably what he's going to learn. That would be the most surprising if that's something that gets his way.
Now, this city was totally leveled. What is the timeline looking like for when either repairs can start, or what's the future of it looking like?
It's a mixed bag, and let me explain. So Ka'anapali is sort of it's the resort town where a lot of the high-rise hotels are that you would see that are on the west side of Maui, and so that's most of those hotels are fine. You have some places that are, if you're talking about Lahaina town itself, now that's completely different, because that place is completely gone. The short answer to your question is nobody knows as far as how long it's going to take. Part of the problem right now in the immediate future is trying to get stuff cleaned up to a point where all of the debris and the soot and all of the toxins and chemicals that come from mass destruction like this don't start to impact the environment. And they start to, if there's one big storm coming up, and I know there's another hurricane that's starting to make its way west towards Hawaii. I don't know if that's in the next couple of days or so. I'm watch weather, but point being, the next storm that comes is going to possibly kick up a bunch of stuff into the atmosphere. It's going to send it further into the island. It might go past the island and go west towards our side of Hawaii. It's going to seep some of this chemical and pollutants into the ground, which means that groundwater starts to become an issue, and drinking water. Even as of right now, it's not safe they're recommending people don't even brush their teeth with the water that they're getting in West Maui. It's that bad that you can't even boil the water to make it safe. So these are the kinds of things that when you start adding on little by little what some of the challenges are that they're dealing with, that's really the only explanation as to when things are going to get done. It's not a clock, it's not a calendar, it's a checklist, and it's long.
Got it. Well, Robert, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I know you must be exhausted, so thank you for cutting out a little bit of time for us. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you go?
Well, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't say hi to Matt and Mary Lou Buan over on the north side, because as you know, if they don't see you or hear you in this business, that it doesn't really exist. So I just wanted to make sure that I said hi to them before I got in trouble.
Well, now you're on in Spokane, so you've made it. Robert, thank you so much for your time.
From the 808 to the 509, whatever y'all need.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And if you missed some of that interview, you can catch the full thing up on kxly.com and KXLY+. Thank you, Robert Buan and KITV, for joining me. Be sure to tune into that if you missed some of it. And we will have more information coming up in 4 News Now at 5 on these wildfires. But for now, live in studio, I'm Rob King for 4 News Now.